Bring to us your poetry from inspiration of thought. Come join us with your images, your verses, words, and thought. From here, we'll share your balladry with those who do not know it. This platform's here for you to show the world that you're the poet.
Welcome to episode 53 of You're the Poet, the poetry podcast featuring you. I'm host Matt Burgio, and I'm here with co-host Phil Burgio. Phil, welcome.
Glad to be here.
Here at You're the Poet, our purpose is to share our love of poetry with the world and invite you to do the same. We want to start by saying thank you to all of our listeners who have made You're the Poet possible. We hope you enjoy the podcast and the poetry that is shared here. Our featured guest for this episode of You're the Poet is Mr. Lights, who is joining us from Los Angeles, California. Mr. Lights, welcome to You're the Poet.
Pleasure to be here.
Yeah, we're glad you could join us, and we look forward to your contribution to the episode. To start things off, I'm going to share a classic poem for the episode. I was actually inspired to find and look up this poet by a player at work. I work as a casino dealer, and I had a guy whose name was Ben Johnson, and that reminded me that, oh yeah, there's a poet playwright out there named Ben Johnson. I'm going to use him for my next classic poem. So that's where I came to this. So this poem will be by Ben Johnson. He's an English playwright and poet. He was born in June 1572 in the London area and died in 1637 at the age of 65 in London. He's regarded as the second most important English dramatist after Shakespeare, of course. He was a contemporary of Shakespeare. They both performed in the same theaters. They worked in the same theater company. And Shakespeare even performed in at least two of Johnson's plays. Outside of plays, he was also known for his masques and his poetry. He was married and had 3 children, though sadly he outlived all 3 of them. This note brings me to the poem I decided to share. It's called On My First Son. It was written in 1603 and first published in 1616. It was written after the death of his first son at the age of 7 from the bubonic plague. So it's sort of a sad poem, and I'll talk a little bit more about it at the end. On my first son. Farewell, thou child of my right hand in joy. My sin was too much hope of thee, loved boy. 7 years thou wert lent to me, and I thee pay, exacted by thy fate on the just day. Oh, could I lose all father now? For why will man lament the state he should envy, to have so soon scaped worlds and flesh's rage, and if no other misery, yet age? Rest in soft peace, and ask, say, here doth lie Ben Jonson, his best piece of poetry, for whose sake henceforth all his vows be such, as what he loves may never like too much. Ben Jonson.
Absolutely powerful.
I agree, and it's a sad poem, and not to bring sadness to the podcast, but we've been dealing with some deaths lately, whether it's been death of a friend, or I know my brother lost one of his good friends lately, who happened to be the first son of his parents, and I know that's got to be rough. I hope that's something I'll never have to relate to. I think parents losing a child's got to be one of the worst things out there.
Definitely. As a father, I could see that. I have an 8-year-old boy as well.
I got 3 boys. I don't know their ages anymore. Somewhere in the 40s.
You just know you have them.
Well, you're 45, Matt?
Yeah, I'm 46.
You're 46. Mike is 48.
We're all about 2 years apart.
Yeah.
And the only reason I could answer 46 that quick is because somebody asked me last night at work how old I was. Usually anymore, I've got to stop and think. So
I'm 76. It's easy for me to say.
Yeah. What a tragic poem, but I thought it was sad that he outlived all 3 of his children.
Oh, definitely. The amount of symbolism that he put in this poem, because his name was Benjamin, if I'm not wrong, and I have a Hebrew middle name, but Benjamin in Hebrew is child of my right hand, being one of those first lines.
Yeah, and I think the concept of oldest child, too, has something to do with the right hand as well.
Definitely.
I didn't read this poem beforehand, and it did kind of touch me. I've written some poems for sadness and grief. Every so often they pop in.
As I read it, I was tearing up. My son's 8. I couldn't imagine the amount of pain that he was going through. And to immortalize his son in words is absolutely astounding.
Yeah. All right, well, from here, we're going to turn to Phil's poem for the episode. Phil?
This poem is called As I Matured. In my youth, I could lift Thor's hammer, leap like a deer and run like the wind, full of energy and excitement, no cares, no thoughts about the future. living for the moment, experience each new day. But now I grind with each movement, bones ache, muscles twinge, but I embrace these feelings as they remind me that God has kept me still alive. I have been older longer than my time in youth. I have traded strength for wisdom and prudence, knowledge, sagacity, compassion, and care. Remembering my faults and early errors have made me a worthier, more rational man. Philip Burgio.
All right, thank you.
Absolutely wonderful.
I know there was no connection when you set this up because you didn't know which Ben Jonson poem I was reading, but this sort of reminded me of that poem, that essence of, he kind of woes this living on, and why should a man woe that he's living longer? In his sense, it's the tragic loss of his child, but
Of course.
I thought that connection there of at least you're getting to live longer, that God has given you this long life.
So far,
Not just that, but in the concept of a father, the fact that you have become a more reasonable man, it means you're doing well. It means that your kids are fortunate to have you as a father.
well, thank you.
And I 100% agree. But I like that. I like that whole first line about you lift Thor's hammers and leap like a deer and run like the wind. And I like that last line about all these things have made you a worthier, more rational man. I kind of like to come back to that. Very well done.
Definitely.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, from here, I'm going to share my poem for the episode. I know we've talked a little bit about sonnets as of late, and I've had sonnets on my mind because I'm wanting to write some more sonnets. So I decided I would share a sonnet for this episode. This is one I've written for my wife called Sonnet Number 1 for My Girl. A love from me entwines with you as one, as yours, thine heart thus beats a love for me. Together we will be till life is done, and share our love for all eternity. A dedicated life is what we'll share, where loyalty cements and holds us here. No matter what the world might make us bear, as partners we will always persevere. The passion burns and livens up our lives to see the world, its beauty and its power. It flows in us and blossoms as it thrives, and stronger grows with each and every hour. A combination sure to stay in fashion, a toast to love and loyalty and passion. Matthew Burgio.
Well done.
Now, did you write that or did Ben Jonson write that one?
It sounds like competition.
When he first started, I got the impression like, that's a Shakespeare Ben Jonson type feeling. Good job. Good job.
Well, thank you.
I love it. I don't believe I made a sonnet before, though I do have poetry that dedicates, like it's a poem to my muse.
Yeah. Yeah, I got into sonnets a little bit. I like the classical forms or forms in general. I tend to write more form poetry than free verse, even though I dabble in both. There was a while there where I was studying sonnets and getting into writing them. Yeah, I like to write them for my lady, I guess.
As you should.
That's on my list to write a sonnet.
And speaking of the Ben Jonson or Shakespeare reference, this is the Elizabethan or English sonnet form. It does take on that and obviously is inspired by those writers.
Well done.
Thank you. All right, well, from here, we're going to turn to our guest portion of the episode. Mr. Lights, you're the poet. Show us what you've got.
All right. I have a series of 3 poems. For some reason, it seems to be a running theme. I make 3 poems of a certain topic. And this one would happen to be colors. Of course, it's heartbreak. Seems like a very sad episode we're having today.
I will lighten it up.
So let's see. So these poems, I've posted them on my Instagram page, but they were written within the last 2 years. This first one is called Minimalist. I love space and emptiness, the sheer thought of having an empty space and then filling it. Neat and in order, everything in plain sight, thinking I just might be a minimalist. Just enough of something. 2-tone colors, perfectly even, black and white, staying or leaving. I love space and just enough of everything. I think I might be a minimalist. Everything in place, even the crevices. That's where she sneaks in. Minimalist, but I talk too much, and sometimes not enough. I love space, but boy, she caught my bluff. She fidgeted with my notes and all of my stuff, painted over the textured walls with colors in disproportionate seams, filled the spaces with upside-down tables and things, and conversations were now the ones that were neat, perfectly composed, hiding the meanings underneath, parading around with the steel in its sheath. I swear I'm a minimalist. A good amount of everything. I had a great amount of space, and you filled up the room in a single step when you whispered, I love you. Showing me how much of you that you aspired to be, and how much of me there was left to see. How could I wish to minimalize this? But slowly we shortened us. Stripped from the walls were the colors and frames. The long conversations fell short. Lamps, shelves, and board games. Maybe she's one too? No rose-colored glasses. Maybe I'm not one. She had kaleidoscope vision. We never had enough of everything. I could have sworn I was a minimalist. But now that is simply not true. Because it seems you've had enough of me, and I never got enough of you. By Mr. Lights.
All right, thank you for sharing. I really love that whole concept of the minimalist,
Minimalist, yeah.
and then how you expand on it, the whole concept of that you didn't get enough of her, despite trying to convince yourself you're a minimalist.
Yeah, it starts off with my life being fairly simple, to say the least. I was a very straightforward person. And when this person entered my life, it opened up a whole new world of understanding colors. She is the beginning of my poetry.
Very cool.
So that's who this person represents.
I like that. Very well done with that. And I love that whole progression of, starting with the blank slate, the emptiness, and then how you progress and how she fills the crevices and builds from there.
Yeah, it's hard to tell a story before her, to say.
How long you been together?
We were together for 7 years. We were.
Or okay.
Yeah. But yeah, this poem has actually been in the back burner for so long. I remember in the previous episode where I forgot which one of you said, because now I see faces and I know whose voice belongs to. But one of you said, I enjoy hearing the poet read the poem because there's more sentiment to it.
Yeah.
It brings more life into it.
We both think that, but I'm not sure who said that one.
I think it was Philip.
Yeah, Phil has said it a few times, and we both agree with that. I just think you do get that sentiment. You get that different feeling when you get to hear a poet read their own poetry, especially if it's a personal thing.
Yeah,
Mr. Lights, you got another one for us.
sure. So this second poem is called Colors for My Grays. I may shed the skin that once touched yours, but your scent still lingers, as do your eyes sunk deeply in mine, as does your voice calling my name, echoing in the cave of my memories, as does the weight on my chest as you laid upon me, as do your hands on my back scratching, trying to crawl and climb so you may rest on my shoulders, as do your desires to weave into my skin because simply touching wasn't enough. The only way our atoms would truly hold hands is when we shared a breath, as do the colors you gave to all my grays. I swear, I still wear colors sometimes to reflect the bits of the ton of you that still remains, as does the empty 95% of the bed I fill with music and a black cat that loved you more, as does everything that makes me miss you. I've never wanted to say goodbye this many times to you. It was always, I'll see you soon, as does my wanting to fill your hands with the tools to see how much you are in my eyes. I see you in every dress I pass by, that you'd wear in the forest. You are the very nature of my being, as do the gray clouds, knowing those are my bad days. And they aren't my bad days. They just reminded me that you knew. No longer will anyone say my name. No one will be worthy, as do our drunken, sleepless nights filled with conversations, as does what you do. All you will be, all you will gain, as you are, and always will be, in my veins. By Mr. Lights.
All right, thank you for sharing. Man, I really like that. Just that whole concept of shedding your skin, but all these other things still linger.
Having an emotional moment here.
I really like that line too. The only way our atoms would truly hold hands is when we share a breath.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
That was a great line.
This poem was also in the back burner. It was written, and there's moments in time where I go back to poetry that I didn't post and I read it and I'm like, who wrote this? There's no way. Like, how deep was I in my soul that this is a production of that moment?
Yeah, it's amazing what poetry can do. And I've recognized some of it, like you were saying, because a lot of the poems I share on the podcast, I wrote years ago, some of them 20 plus years ago. And it'll be interesting to kind of go back in my mind to those moments, like what space I was in or where was I when I was writing this, especially the ones that involve past lovers and things like that.
Of course, what man was I at that time?
Right.
Like I said, it's getting me a little teary-eyed because I'm thinking of my relationship I have with my wife.
Yeah. Well, this person was my wife. And a little bit of history. I've known her since I was 8.
Mm.
So I've loved her for a long time. It just it doesn't always align.
I understand.
Yeah.
All right. Well, before we go on to the next poem, tell us a little bit about your poetic journey. And I know if there's anything you want to promote or anything you have going on in the poetry world.
Definitely. Well, I started writing poetry at the age of 13. I remember the exact, not time, but well, time was probably 3 p.m. and the place was on the footsteps of my neighbor's house. I showed my first poem that I probably do not remember anymore, and she said that she loved it. And from that moment on, I kept writing poetry. Lots of my poems are usually the strongest when it's heartbreak or I'm in love.
I understand that. I think I write my best poetry when I'm in love.
Yeah, definitely. Or just in love with a moment. And ever since then, I've saw the world a little bit different. I gave life to things that don't breathe. It's like I saw new colors and some that didn't carry a name, and I put it upon myself to give them names.
I love how you say that. That's very poetic in general.
Appreciate it. I guess the most recent news would be I do turn 29 on October 13th. I'm not sure how the time scales on these posts, but on October 12th, I will be releasing one of my most personal poems, and I called it The Honest 28. It will be, I guess, a more direct approach to me as a person. And a lot of my inspiration came from a group of writers. One of them was one of your guests, which is Loris Loren. But there's also Eric and pretty much everyone who Loris mentioned in that episode. And I'm also part of an anthology with 10 other amazing writers, which I hope that the book is being released sometime this year. It's going through a really creative editing process by Natalie. More about that book can be found on my Instagram page, which is Mr. Lights. And I'm so fortunate to just have that name, Mr. Lights. No underscores or anything. It's a very rare thing to find. But yeah, I wish to be in more projects. Hopefully, this really does kick off my path into being a more active writer.
All right, we'll keep an eye out for that. And please share with us when it comes out. I'm sure Loris will as well, because we like to promote our guests. So anytime you've got a project poetry related that's going on, let us know and we'll help you promote it, help get it out there.
Definitely. The book will be called Bloodlines.
Bloodlines. Okay.
I hope to share some of the poetry if I'm able to make a comeback.
Oh yeah, we
Yeah.
have returning guests all the time. So there'll be opportunities where you'll be able to come back on and share more work with us.
Sounds good. I have so many good poems in that book. So personal and raw, but I've been holding it off until the book is released.
And you said you're trying to look for other opportunities as well. I don't know if you saw that the Wheel Song Books, I know they have a Facebook presence out there, but they're making a call currently for their latest anthology. And that's a good charitable organization. They raise money for Save the Children and things like that. That's what the proceeds for these anthologies go for. But if you want to submit to that, you can find information on our You're the Poet page or on the Wheel Song page.
I'll definitely look into it.
Yeah, another way to get out there and also kind of intermingle with some other great poets out there.
And it's for a good cause.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
I enjoy writing. I never really sought a profitable opportunity to it. So if it's something that can contribute to the needy, per se, then I am more than happy to be a part of that.
It's definitely worth checking out. It's a great group in general.
Awesome.
Okay, give us another one, Mr. Lights.
Sure. This will be my third and last. This poem is called Palette. It's written in a style, or it was prompted by our lady and editor, Natalie, of the book Bloodlines. It's a poem that is written out and then reversed. Palette. You used to give colors to my grays, I'd say, as I looked through the rose-colored glasses. They made the reds green, just for me to be seen. Seemingly so lively, my soul gave the colors a go. But I soon stumbled upon my own blues, and purple was on my hands and knees. Blue in the face as I struggled to breathe. Red overtook my eyes. Your yellow light became lightning strikes. Your sunflowers fell on my chest with all of their might. Soon the white of my teeth became a favorite disguise. Black. My heart churned black. My heart churned black. Black. Long I carried my disguise by the white of my teeth, all while I carried your sunflower memories on my chest. A lightning strike came from your warming yellow light. It sounded like goodbye as my anger caved from my red bloodshot eyes. I was begging to gasp since I was blue in the face, my hands and knees covered in purple, leaving a trace where I tripped over my blues. I gave you colors a go. You just seemed so lively. Looking at me made reds all green. The rose-colored glasses, my favorite microscope. As I'd say, you gave colors to all my grays. By Mr. Lights.
All right. Thank you for sharing.
I love the way you weave all the colors and give it like, I don't want to say different meanings, but different categories.
Definitely. There's a lot of painting inspiration in that. So when you mix all the colors in one, it creates black
Right.
and painting.
Yeah, I really like that. I kind of like the whole concept you mentioned early on that this was like a trilogy, that, the color concept across all three of these poems. I thought that was great. And I liked the form of this poem. It reminded me of, I think it was way back in, I want to say episode 12 with Peter Rivers, though I'm not sure, but I shared a poem called Living Your Life in Limbo, and it kind of did that thing where it goes and it kind of flips itself midway and it comes back around.
Oh, I believe I heard it a couple of days ago. I was going through all your episodes. I like to hear it while I'm working.
Oh, well, thank you. But yes, that reminded me of that. But I like that concept of the coming back around. Just poems that sort of flip and come back.
I wanted that flip to be impactful in a sense, because it's almost like, you're right. I'm painting all these colors, and then at the end of saying the white of my teeth became a favorite disguise, it's just instantly black. And that's how sudden everything felt.
Well, I think that's a great turning point where it all comes together into the black. I thought that was a great place to turn it around. Well done with that.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're a good poet, Mr. Lights. Looking forward to hear some more of your stuff.
I appreciate it. I enjoy commentary. I used to be an anonymous poet. I was an anonymous poet since 13 until I want to say recently. I don't really show my face, but I've come to warm up to the idea to show who's behind the poems, especially in this time of computerized work.
Hey,
Yeah.
don't get me started in AI poetry. Jeez.
Yeah, it became a fear of mine, but I do have I'm very self-conscious. I don't really like to present myself physically, but someone once told me that my art is in my words and not in the skin. So I really expressed myself from their moment.
There you go.
Nice.
Thank you.
All right. Well, before we wrap things up, is there anything else you want to say about poetry or anything else you've got going on?
Um, yeah, just for October 12th, that really personal poem will be posted, and look forward for myself to be more in the front lines of writing. I'm very happy that there is a community of poets and that they found solace and a haven with you two. I'm very, if it's safe to say, I'm very proud of you two.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
You guys created something that I could possibly only dream about. And I was very lonely as a poet, and it's nice to see more.
Well, check out our community page there on Facebook. We've got a You're the Poet community page where people are welcome to share their poetry and interact with the other poets. And of course, we have our own You're the Poet Facebook page that just has more of like the business end of it, I always say. But yeah, and hey, at this point, welcome to the You're the Poet community. You're now one of our guests.
I appreciate it.
And we do a lot of callbacks and things. Like there'll be opportunities to come back on, whether it's through our around the tables that we do about every fifth episode, or every so often we do an all call where we have people send in recordings. There'll definitely be other opportunities to be a part of the community.
Also, I'm adding a lot of my religious beliefs into my next upcoming poems, and I never did that before. So, yes, I am bringing, I don't want to say religious views, but the concept of a all-loving being loving me.
There you go.
All right, we look forward to hearing about more of that as we check out your stuff. And you said, obviously, I'll follow you on Instagram if we haven't already. And we're on there too. You can check that out. But yeah. All right, we have a little feedback for this episode. To start off, we have feedback from Tara Hicks on Spotify. She commented on episode 46 with Brandon Adam Haven. She said, I really enjoyed the poem by Matt, Our Love Within the Flame. It was incredibly romantic in both senses of the word. Tara also commented on episode 47 with Lynn Allison, saying, Lynn Allison, your readings were enthralling and thoroughly enjoyable. Thank you. All right, Tara, thank you for the feedback and taking the time to listen to You're the Poet. All right, as we wrap things up, we want to let our listeners know that we are grateful that you've taken the time to tune in. We hope you're enjoying the poetry shared here, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to the podcast and share it with others. If you would like to support You're the Poet and what we're doing here, there are a couple of ways to help. You can find links on our website to our Buy Me a Coffee patron site, as well as our You're the Poet store, where you can buy You're the Poet merchandise and share your love of poetry with the world. Thank you for your support as we continue to grow. And we want to take this moment to thank Tara H. for supporting us both on Buy Me a Coffee and buying some merchandise at the You're the Poet store. So thank you, Tara. If you've written any poetry and you want to share it here, whether you just have an interest in poetry, consider yourself an amateur poet, or are a professional poet with published works, contact us to be a guest on a future episode. Check out our website and various social media outlets to keep up to date with You're the Poet. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and our website, you'rethepoet.com. Until next time, Phil, thanks for joining us.
Anytime. It's nice meeting you.
As well.
Mr. Lights, thank you for being our guest.
It's been a pleasure.
All right, thank you guys. Goodbye.